A boy lay in a hospital bed, near death. Then suddenly he awakens and gasps for air. He looks around, confused, wondering where he is. Feeling uneasy, he pulls the sheets from his lower body, only to reveal a devastating truth. He has lost both of his legs. The boy wonders what time it is, but before he can process his thoughts, his sister calls out to him. She is hysterically crying because he is finally awake, and she rushes over to give him a heartwarming hug. The protagonist's sister explains that he was involved in a hit and run. As he listens, the protagonist realizes something shocking. He has gone 1 year back in time. In his previous life, after the accident, the culprit was never found. He had once been the youngest billionaire in the country, but after losing his legs, he lost all confidence. Vulnerable and broken, he focused only on treatments. But his most trusted friend, Xiao Tiankai, betrayed him. Xiao manipulated him, stole his billion-dollar company, and even forced his sister into marriage, threatening to stop paying the protagonist's medical bills if she refused. The protagonist begged Xiao to release her, but she was willing to sacrifice her happiness to protect her older brother. Helpless, the protagonist wept in sorrow, powerless to save her. Not long after, a virtual game called Divine Path was released. It became an instant sensation because in-game currency could be used in the real world, and character attributes affected reality itself. It was the protagonist's only chance to change his fate. But in that life, he had lost everything. Poor and broken, he couldn't afford good resources. Weak and powerless, he died repeatedly to monsters. Meanwhile, Xiao used the wealth that once belonged to him to obtain the best resources and rise to the top. That life, that success, should have been the protagonist's. Consumed by despair, the protagonist invited Xiao to his house under the guise of needing help. In truth, he had wired his home with explosives. When Xiao mocked him, telling him to try to kill him, the protagonist pressed the detonator. The house exploded, and the protagonist's body was torn apart. But Xiao emerged unscathed, strengthened by the attributes he had gained from Divine Path. Standing over him, Xiao revealed the horrifying truth. He was the one behind the hit and run, the death of the protagonist's parents, and the scheme to seize the company. Broken, the protagonist cried as Xiao crushed his skull beneath his foot. That was how he was reborn. Now, staring at his sister, the protagonist swore to protect her this time. With a mad look in his eyes, he vowed to take revenge on Xiao. But his disability was still a problem. He thought of Divine Path, the game would be his path to power. He knew the game launched today, and within a month, people would discover that attributes and money could cross into reality. His assets and accounts hadn't been frozen yet, giving him the perfect chance to get a head start. Determined to turn the tables, he asked his sister for a favor. She was confused. What kind of favor? He explained that he needed her to buy him a Divine Path gaming pod. Suddenly, Xiao arrived, questioning when the protagonist had started playing games. He sneered, "If you waste time gaming, what will happen to your company?" The protagonist, hiding his true intentions, replied briefly that as a cripple, the only thing he could do now was play games. Xiao smirked and told him gaming pods were rare and expensive, but the protagonist countered. He still had control of company funds and would spend whatever it took to get one. Feigning kindness, Xiao offered to get the pod for him, secretly thinking it would be easier to steal the company if the protagonist was distracted. But when Xiao tried to take the sister along, the protagonist pulled her back, insisting she stay with him. He would not allow Xiao to touch her this time. Frustrated, Xiao left, wondering why his hitman had failed and plotting to use a tanker truck next time. Afterward, the protagonist instructed his sister to transfer all his money into the game and sell the company's stocks. Confused and worried, she asked if he was sure. With determination in his eyes, he assured her he was ready to bet big. 3 hours later, the protagonist climbed into his new gaming pod and launched the game. In the virtual world, he felt his legs again, he could walk. A system window appeared, asking him to choose a username. He entered, Chao Wang Morning Wine Elegy. Next, the system prompted him to choose a class. Warrior, Mage, Ranger, Assassin, Priest, knight, or summoner. He picked the same as before, ranger. As a VIP gaming pod user, he received special rewards. Elf Bloodline Epic. A born ranger. Favored by elves. Effects. Plus 10% accuracy. Plus 10% critical rate. Plus 10% evasion. Plus 15% movement speed. Weakness detection legacy. Identify the target's weak points. Attacking weak points deals 150% to 200% damage. Costs 20 mana. Cooldown. 120 seconds. Usable by all classes. The protagonist was satisfied. These were the same powerful rewards he had in his previous life. But then, the system gave him something entirely new, an additional special reward. For being one of the first 100 global VIPs to purchase a pod, he received a treasure chest. To unlock it, he needed to recharge his account. Without hesitation, he ordered the system to use his funds. He knew success required investment. In his last life, he had received only a bleeding damage effect ability. But now, with money to spend, he could aim for much better. The treasure chest opened. The protagonist's eyes widened in disbelief. He had obtained an ability that could change everything. The power to evolve all things. The divine talent. Evolution wasn't an easy ability to obtain. Even if someone tried to purchase it with 50 million gold coins, it would still be nearly impossible. The protagonist opens the skill details. 1. Passive evolution. 100% chance to upgrade a dropped item by 1 rank. 5% chance to trigger intermediate evolution, upgrading the item by 2 ranks. Note: evolution can surpass the highest current item rank. 2. Autonomous evolution. 100% chance to upgrade any item, tool, skill, or gem by 2 levels. 10% chance to upgrade by 3 levels. Cooldown. 24 hours. Note: this effect cannot stack with passive evolution, and the same effect can only evolve once. Smiling, the protagonist activates the skill equipment. This ability was like winning the lottery every day, a complete game changer. While others were stuck with bronze and silver items, he would obtain silver, gold, or even higher. He plans to enter the game shortly, kill monsters, and test his new ability to see what items he can obtain. After removing the skill equipment, he decides he'll only activate it once he finds something with true potential worth evolving. With all preparations complete, the protagonist opens the game entrance. Determined, he is ready to change his fate. Arriving at the beginner village, the protagonist feels slightly disappointed. He wasn't among the first to enter. Many wealthy people had clearly joined early. Still, he realizes he has nothing to worry about. They were only hunting chickens. He runs in the opposite direction of the other players, planning to get the first kill on a boss monster. Doing so would grant extra rewards. He opens his inventory and frowns. It only contains a newbie bow and cloth armor, items with no evolutionary value. He thinks carefully about how to use his ability, since it can only be activated once per day. Then it strikes him he can evolve himself. The protagonist activates the skill, targeting his elf bloodline. The evolution is successful. A system window appears. Bloodline of the Elf King. 1. Strength empowerment. Plus 50% hit rate, critical strike rate, attack speed, evasion, and plus 100% movement speed. 2. Life force. Increases life limit by 1,000 points, with an additional plus 100 points per level. 3. Life arrow. Every third attack is a guaranteed critical hit. The protagonist is thrilled. With these new attributes, hunting monsters alone would be no problem. Suddenly, a wolf's howl echoes nearby. A forest wolf is about to attack a group of adventurers. From behind a tree, he observes. The adventurers were smart to travel in a group for safety, but they lacked survival knowledge. The pack of wolves quickly surrounded them, then attacked all at once. The group was wiped out. While the wolves feasted, the protagonist fired an arrow straight into the pack leader's head, instantly killing it. A notification appears. Elf King bloodline leveled up. Plus 10 magic points. Plus 5 attribute points. Item obtained. Wolf meat. Restores health. The other wolves noticed him and gave chase. He activated his Elf King Bloodlines passive, boosting his speed. After a while he looked back. The wolves had stopped. Then he realized why. He had entered a higher level area, the Buffalo Zone. Wolves would not pursue him there. The Buffalo Zone contained monsters around level 5. Just then, a random girl greeted him. Turning, he saw a small adventuring party. She asked if he wanted to join them. They were preparing to hunt buffalo. One of her teammates scoffed. He's only level 2. If he joins, we'll have to share experience points, and he'll just hold us back. The protagonist politely declined. Good luck. I'll head elsewhere. Another team member questioned him, wondering why he refused. The protagonist replied, hunting wild cattle is inefficient. I'd rather be a lone wolf. They warned him the next area was far more dangerous, and that dying came with penalties. Another adventurer explained, if you die, you lose all your gold, your equipment takes damage, and your accumulated experience points are cut in half. Worst of all, the pain you feel here is just like real life. Feigning ignorance, the protagonist thanked them for the warning, then continued on his way. The girl looked like she wanted to stop him, but her companions dismissed it. Let him go. He'll die on his own. The protagonist pressed forward and soon arrived at a cave filled with skulls. A giant eye opens. Suddenly, the giant boss snake becomes highly alert toward the protagonist. The protagonist activates his skill, which allows him to see the weaknesses of his enemies. The snake's weakness is located on the back of its neck. The protagonist draws his bow, and the snake immediately attacks. He dodges and strikes the weak spot, but only 29 health points are removed. His attack power is still extremely low. Although the giant snake is slower than him, the protagonist feels it will be easier to simply evade and attack until the snake dies. He attacks again, but this time the snake anticipates it and protects its weak point. Frustrated, the protagonist increases his speed and unleashes a barrage of arrows. One arrow strikes the weak spot, enraging the snake. The giant snake activates its poisonous breath, and the protagonist begins losing 10 HP every second. The snake climbs to higher ground while the protagonist has only 2 minutes left before the poison kills him. Grinning, he fires a stronger arrow that hits the snake's weak spot once again. The snake collapses to the ground. A system window appears. Every third attack will be a critical hit. The protagonist approaches the giant snake, ready to spill more of its blood. He thinks 2 minutes is more than enough time to finish it off. He chips away at the snake's health, but it retaliates with relentless attacks, trying to prevent him from firing arrows. However, the snake is no match for his speed. He lands another critical hit on the snake's belly, and to his surprise, the damage is even greater. He realizes he's found a faster way to defeat it. The protagonist readies his bow to attack again, but the snake slams the ground, collapsing the floor beneath them. He falls into a massive pit as the snake begins spewing more poison. Quickly, he eats wolf meat to recover health. Although it doesn't cure the poison, it counters the HP reduction effect. He dashes up the pit wall and shoots the giant snake directly in the eye. The snake, badly wounded, tries to escape. The protagonist fires at its weak spot once more, then simultaneously releases another arrow, delivering the final blow. The snake crashes down, dead. A system window pops up. Congratulations on being the first to kill the boss and achieving the server's first kill, earning a place on the glory board. Your accomplishment will be announced across the server 3 times. Do you want to hide your ID? The protagonist answers no, he's been hiding long enough. The system announces his achievement, broadcasting his name to all players. Many are in disbelief, as he is only level 3 yet managed to solo a boss. Meanwhile, the group that tried to recruit him finally manages to kill one buffalo, mistakenly thinking it was a boss. Expecting high-value equipment, they are utterly shocked when the system announcement proves otherwise. The protagonist levels up from 2 to 7, earning 1.5 times the experience points. He assigns all his unallocated attribute points to agility. His stats are now attack power 65, strength 6, agility 39, spirit 5, defense 8, and HP 1860. Practically stronger than a tank, he checks the loot. The 10 silver coins have transformed into 10 gold coins. Then, suddenly, his evolution skill triggers a second evolution. The gold coins transform into a crystal coin. This coin is a rare currency that the protagonist can use to buy special and ultra-rare items from NPCs. Soon after, the protagonist receives a silver snake one-handed sword with an attack power of 28. The sword possesses a special ability that infuses its attacks with snake venom. The protagonist isn't impressed, since his specialty is the bow, but he plans to sell the sword for profit. He also obtains Azure Scale armor, which increases both defense and health. However, there's a problem. He cannot use it until he reaches level 10. Along with these rewards, the reputation system grants him a silver treasure chest. Inside, he finds a legendary skill called 7-star chain arrows. This ability allows him to shoot 7 arrows simultaneously, dealing true damage equal to 1% of his enemy's health. It is a powerful skill, especially for archers, but it can only be used once he reaches level 10. Determined, the protagonist resolves to level up quickly. Just then, he hears a random voice calling for help. Looking behind a wall, he finds an NPC named Lady Goo, who is rumored to give players hidden quests. The protagonist informs her that the snake is dead and she is no longer in danger. However, she explains that her foot is injured and asks him to carry her out. Flustered, he reluctantly agrees. After carrying her outside, Lady Goo thanks him and promises to take care of him the next time they meet. The protagonist, annoyed by her vague response, drops her in frustration. She then explains that, for now, she has little to offer in repayment, except her body. Before she can continue, the protagonist cuts her off, firmly refusing. She smiles mischievously and admits it was just a test, before handing him a weapon called the Black Moon Blade. The protagonist slaps it out of her hands, warning her to stop playing games. He demands the hidden class, but she pretends not to know what he means. Enraged, he threatens to kill her daughter. Fearful, she finally relents and promises to unlock the path to the hidden class. At that moment, she summons a giant magic circle beneath the protagonist. She explains that he will be transported to the hidden class trial. All he has to do is pass, and then he'll receive a hidden class. The protagonist smiles and thanks her. He then looks at the system window and doesn't like what he sees. The system window reads, Shadow Hunter Trial. Difficulty high. Failure results in permanent disqualification. The protagonist is confused and panics because this level is far too high for someone at level 7. She gives an evil smile and says it serves him right for threatening to harm her daughter. The protagonist realizes he made a mistake. He should have gained her favor instead of forcing the hidden trial. But it's too late. The magic circle pulls him in. Angry, the protagonist shouts that she shouldn't underestimate him, and once he escapes, he'll go after her daughter. He lands in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by endless sand. The system window announces, the trial will begin. Suddenly, the protagonist hears a noise at his feet. He looks down and sees something emerging from the ground. He leaps out of the way and activates his skill to find its weakness. The target is revealed. The sandworm's weakness is its mouth. He fires an arrow directly into it. The worm roars in anger and dives back underground. The protagonist can barely see. It's nighttime, making it even harder to track the worm's movements. He searches for higher ground where he won't be ambushed and spots a tower. He sprints toward it, but suddenly, the giant worm bursts out of the ground. The protagonist dodges and unleashes multiple arrows at its weak spot. Enraged, the worm activates another ability, spitting a wave of sand at him while he's still midair, blinding the protagonist. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. See you in the next one.